Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our entitled people. In today's episode, entitled colleague tells me off for grieving. But it isn't perfume. Stupid Karen versus office policies. Upwork client got mad because I didn't have time to continue another project with him. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled colleague tells me off for grieving. I lost someone important recently. He was like my second dad. He helped raise me and I knew him my entire life, so when he passed, I've not been handling it too well. Mostly, I've just been in a daze during work, not really speaking to anyone. I've recently been doing much better thanks to my best friend, so when I returned to work after being off for the weekend, I was able to talk and joke around with my colleagues again. One particular colleague, who I used to be pretty friendly with, was ignoring me when I said hi to them. After a few attempts, I asked what was wrong. They proceeded to tell me off for not talking to them for the past week and that they get that I'm grieving, but they have had it so much worse because my dad died when I was 10 and no one can understand the pain I went through and you need to get over it. He wasn't even related to you, and my personal favorite, you'll never know what grief is like I do. Considering my bio dad, 3 sets of grandparents, mom was adopted, and now recently my second dad have passed away, I found that comment to be a bit shit. I didn't say anything and just walked away. Suffice it to say, we won't be talking as much anymore. I am so sorry for your loss. That is so disrespectful to say that to you. At least you only have to work with them and don't have to live with someone so self-centered. Glad that your friend is helping you. Ignore them, take care of yourself. Thank you. Thankfully, we're on different teams so we don't interact much. Colleagues, sounds like it's got martyr syndrome. You do realize this person had the monopoly on grief. You shouldn't have tried to steal his thunder. Seriously though, sorry for your loss. Bereavement affects people differently, but for your coworker to turn it into a competition is bizarre. You sound more emotionally mature. It was really odd and weirdly aggressive. They were always so chill before. Colleague is an asshole. A friend of mine since kindergarten, and we're in our 40s now, lost her mom when we were in 3rd grade. I lost my mom when I was 29. You know what she didn't do? She didn't tell me that at least I had a mom 20 years longer than she did. It's not a competition. When someone decides that an individual's new grief over a recent loss should be dismissed because someone else's grieving process that started ages ago, everyone loses. But it isn't perfume. Stupid Karen versus office policies. This story needs a bit of a backstory to help it along. Everyone got their popcorn? Great, let's go. Where I live, most, if not all, public buildings have strict policies in place that everyone entering be scent free. This means a strict rule against all perfumes and scented products. This ban goes all the way back to the 90s when we had a sharp increase in environmental illness. Now, because we tend to be very kind here and conscious of our fellow humans, few objected, and today, it's just an accepted part of life. Backstory over haha. This all took place back in the late 90s when I was working in promotions. Our office was small with a staff of about 20 people, so we were all close-knit friends. Now, because we had people in the office who were triggered by scents due to asthma, including yours truly LOL, we unanimously voted to adopt the no scents policy. We dutifully made signs for the door and scattered a few around the office for newbies and guests and went about our merry way. No problems, right? Oh, how wrong we were. Into our happily buzzing beehive came a new hire. Karen is overused these days, so let's call her Betty. Betty was in her 20s, like the rest of us. However, unlike the rest of us, she seemed to lack both the ability to read and the ability to accept that office rules applied to her too. Betty ignored the sign on the door, the posters on the walls, and, apparently, the manager when she was told about our scent-free rule. Her first day, Betty breezed into the office doused in a wild assortment of conflicting fragrances. Charlie argued with the Chanel while Chanel seemed to be at war sunflowers. To put it bluntly, Betty stank. Even worse, one of the more fragile ladies was thrown into an immediate asthma attack. Let's call her Lucy. Some of us hurried to help Lucy while others gently explained to Betty that she can't wear perfume. A dim light appeared in Betty's eyes and she agreed to go wash it off. Lucy was able to get her breathing under control enough to go to the ER without calling 911. They gave her treatment and she was back at work the next day. So was Betty, who returned absolutely soaked in scents. Lucy was thrown into another attack, this one needed 911. She was carted off to the hospital for more treatment. Betty, we told you yesterday that you can't wear perfume in the office. It isn't perfume, it's body lotion. Well, you can't wear that either. Day 3 of the reign of Betty. Lucy was still out, sick, which turned out to be a good thing because Betty arrived coated with perfume again. Our manager stopped her and sternly told her about office rules and having to follow them. But it isn't perfume or lotion. It's hairsprays. The boss man sighed and shook his head. Betty, it doesn't matter what the product is, if it smells good, don't wear it. You could have killed Lucy. Betty was sent home for the day. She must have decided promotions wasn't for her because she never returned. Lucy recovered and did return several days later. We did not miss Betty. I'm an RRT. I'm the person in the ER who treats the Lucis. People like that don't understand that people like Lucy and myself suffer life-threatening reactions to scents/chemicals, or just don't care. It's either asthma or migraine for me. In the 70s and 80s, I used to have to walk behind my mom in department stores to stop employees from spraying her with perfume. Yes, you'd be walking around the store and they'd spray you with perfume and then they'd talk to you about how great it smelled to try to sell it to you. That's so incredibly rude, I would have fired her in the spot the second day. Upwork client got mad because I didn't have time to continue another project with him. Just need to get this off my chest. In August 2022, I teamed up with this client as a freelance graphic designer, and we've tackled several projects together up until recently. Now, here's the scoop on this guy. He's always been all about scoring a deal and asking for tons of revisions on every design. Back in the day, I was strapped for cash, so I agreed to work with him project by project for a super low price, like $10 to $15 for some gigs. I even threw in extra revisions for free, and some of those were way after we wrapped up the projects up to a year later. Over the year, we churned out 8 different small projects, and he paid me $135 in total. Fast forward to now, I've landed a full-time job, and my free time for freelance gigs on Upwork is not what it used to be. About 2 weeks back, he hit me up for a logo, but I could see it coming. He'd want a bargain and a boatload of revisions. With all the projects piling up since my vacation and the chaos of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Thanksgiving, and Christmas promotions at my company, I just couldn't swing it. I had to say no. I thought a simple no would do the trick. I even turned off Upwork notifications to focus on my other jobs. But this guy won't quit. He's been texting me nonstop since I turned him down, going on about how I should treat my clients differently. I told him 3 times I couldn't do it, and he's still waiting around and expect me to be available for him. In his latest message, he said, "Is my project less important to you than your other clients? Do you think it's appropriate to change your mind at the last minute like this? We've worked on 8 previous projects together. Is this how you treat your customers? I have deadlines too, and I pushed them off to work with your schedule. I'm opening a new office in 2 weeks and need your logo design, as it will determine the paint scheme we use in the office and the business cards. I'm deeply disappointed and want you to reconsider." Just to set the record straight, I told him I might be available after the 13th, but it's not a guarantee. I didn't promise anything. I even told him not to wait. He's mad because he knows if he can't bug you into doing it, he'll have to pay someone else full price and not make unreasonable revision demands. Poor him. Every friend I have who freelanced had a learning curve client like this, the one that teaches you to have a contract clearly stating what is included, the extra cost for going above and beyond that, and the most important lesson of how to say a firm no. You can end this very easily. He is expecting you to do all this work for peanuts. Let him know that the logo design is going to be $500 minimum to start with and $50 per every modification afterwards. Let him know that you no longer need or want to be paid peanuts and doing lots of mods after the fact. Tell him to find someone else, since you have a real job and don't need customers anymore. You can revise the $S to make sense, but you are done doing it for peanuts, since you are a professional now and deserve professional wages for the work. Yeah, wow, like you don't work for him. You have a job. Crazy when people don't understand that. Give me benefits, paycheck, vacation, and you can get my time. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.